Hello and welcome everyone, this is Mike. I'm the founder and CEO of SuiteDash. Welcome to Academy Sessions. These sessions are designed to help you by learning directly from experts in our community who have hands-on experience with SuiteDash. What makes these sessions special is that they are hosted by SuiteDash experts from our community. We've given these experts free rein to develop these presentations based on their actual experiences helping SuiteDash customers just like you, and this allows for a truly authentic and practical learning experience. Each expert brings their own presentation style and perspective, and that's what makes Academy Sessions so valuable. We've entrusted the host to shape the content in a way that best addresses the common questions and challenges our customers face every day, and this approach ensures that the information is not only practical, but also deeply connected to real-world use cases. Today, we're excited to have Coach Kathy Steffen leading our session. Kathy has a wealth of knowledge and a unique approach that we believe you'll find both insightful and highly relatable. We're grateful to Kathy for sharing her expertise, and we hope you enjoy the session and find it as useful and engaging as we do. Be sure to subscribe to SuiteDash on YouTube and follow us on all other social media channels to stay up to date on new features, announcements, and promotions. Okay, that's my intro. Let's get on with the session.
So we're going to talk about flows today, and I just want to kind of say this is more of a laid-back setting. We're going to go as far as we can within our hour, and if we don't get finished, we can pick it up again next week at the same time. So flows are for SuiteDash. There's other places that use the word flows, but SuiteDash ones in specifically is what we're going to talk about. So the first thing that I have found people get stuck on is the difference between a workflow and a flow. A lot of people will come in thinking that the flow is the workflow that they have to build, and that's not actually true. A workflow is a word that we use to describe a list or a diagram you've created that shows the sequence of steps required to complete a portion of what is a larger process. And if you come to any of my coaching calls, I will always say, did you write down what you want? And that's basically your workflow. Now, a SuiteDash flow is one of the tools you can use to complete your workflow steps if it suits it. So we're going to look at, how it works, and you can find out if that's going to work for you in your situation. And for every workflow that you design, there's a sequence you need to follow, or else you're going to be chasing squirrels all over SuiteDash. You need to know why. You have to make sure what you're working on is in line with your most important goal, or you're going to be, like I said, running around chasing squirrels. And then you need to know what is it you want. So write it down on a piece of paper, on a flow chart, whatever you use that helps you think, but write down what you want to have happen, and then you get to decide which tool in SuiteDash is going to work for you. Okay, so the example we're using comes from a couple of the people in the coaching program. They want to have they need to get new staff up to speed quickly in an organized way, so they don't have to take valuable time off from their own work to give the new staff an orientation. So this is the why are we going to build this particular scenario today. So this is going to be a staff onboarding process. So what it is, they want a way to have new staff independently learn what they need to do, tell them about our company, and gather their remaining paperwork. So it's a sequence of steps to get this stuff done. So we're building this together today, and if you have questions, you can absolutely put them in the chat, and I can pause and clarify things as we go. So for our example, we're going to prepare ahead by describing every step of the process. So in this workflow, we're going to have a welcome message. We're going to collect some information, have them upload their certifications, get their technology all set up, so their workspace, introduce some key staff to them, have them know the company mission and values, and then sign an NDA. In this scenario, this is what we're doing. And each of these steps is going to show you one of the pieces of building out a workflow. Now, the how, as I said, there's many, many different ways that particular workflow could be built out. You can use flows. You could use the LMS. You could use dashboards and circles. You could use pages and circles. You could use a form sequence. You could use a checklist. There's lots of different ways. So what we're landing on, as I do my due diligence and look at which one's which. I've landed on flow. This is the one I want the most. So we're going to build the flow together today. So what are flows? Took a little bit to work this out, but it's basically easily created, sequenced pseudo pages that collect and distribute information, and you can have automations attached. So today we're not going to deal with the automations. We're just going to look at the easily created, sequenced, and pseudo page parts. Okay, so that's what we're building. There's two different types of flows. There's an on-demand flow. So this is it's a sequence for someone who's already inside your portal. So they're already floating around, they're going places, but when you put this flow on them, you assign it to them, it'll direct them to this set of steps, pardon me, this set of steps and direct them to do certain things. You can also say there's an urgent notification. Some of you have found that there's a little toggle at the top of flows, at the top of documents and things where you can say, make this show up or not show up at the urgent notification bar. So if you put that on, it'll have this block that shows up that says, hey, you have to pay attention to this and do this. But it's fairly loose as far as they don't have to do it, but those steps are there as soon as they're ready to do it. The onboarding flow is different in that it locks things down. This is for someone, they have to be brand new to the portal. They are going to be stuck here in this flow until you open that gate saying, okay, you're welcome to come in. So the new people get it assigned. This is a priority. They have to do this first, and it's non-negotiable. They can go nowhere else except the flow until the flow is finished. So that's an onboarding flow. You can use flows with contacts, companies, and staff. So there's different ways we can use that. How are we doing with the questions? Any in there, Mike? Okay.
Everything's good. Everything.
Okay.
I think everyone is captivated. They can't even
Okay.
type on their keyboard. They're so impressed.
All right. So this is an example of a flow. And we're going to specifically look at the pieces of building a flow. So what I've put the square around there. We're going to build this stuff together. In the Vandelay Industries sample, I've already built an on-demand flow that's going to look like what we're building. We are going to build together the onboarding flow. So they're going to look exactly the same, but this way it's faster for me and you guys can see how things are done. So to get our workflow from before, we want to start with a welcome message, and that's going to take a content embed. So if I pull this over, to do things beforehand, before you actually build your flow, you should build the pieces for your flow or you're going to get super frustrated. So on this page here is the one I've built already. On this page here, we're going to build together. So we're going to add a flow. And this is going to be an onboarding flow. So that's the second type of flows. We'll see how fast my internet is. Okay, so we are going to call it the same thing. Just going to copy and paste today so it's nice and fast. You can enable I'm stuck for every step. That allows them on each step they're on to give you a quick message saying I'm stuck. If you don't like that, you can turn it off, but I tend to leave it on, especially for things like onboarding. They may have questions and you want to get those right away. So that's that. To add a new step, you just add a new step, and we are going to add a content embed in this case because we want to do a nice little welcome message to them. And we're going to put that there, welcome to our team, and we're going to edit the content. Now, if you have your content already somewhere else, you can go into the code, grab it all, and go paste it over here. It's super easy to pass things around that way. Okay, then you don't get the funny stuff that sometimes pastes. So that's the welcome to our team. Welcome to our team. It's all here. Now we're going to add, let me see my next step. We're going to do an update general form because we want to collect some information from them. You want to decide your questions ahead of time and you want to create the form ahead of time, which I have. So we're going to go back to here. And I'm just going to grab the title so I don't have to remember what I said, getting to know you. So we're going to get to know you. We're going to add a step, and it's going to be where do we go? General form. Getting to know you. I call mine the same. You don't have to. This top one is for you. The bottom one is for them. Okay. And now you get to choose the form, which should be Academy Live, the app. Okay. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. Up here, because we're designing for staff, we need to change it for staff. Sorry. Let's see. Yep. I'm going to rebuild. Sorry, Mike. Oh, it's here.
No problem.
Okay. Getting to know you.
It's what happens when real things are built in
Real things.
on live TV.
Okay. So note to self, decide who you're building your flow for before you start building.
Also, you're going to want to fill in the select users for that help me step. Yes, exactly.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Because you'll get an error there. Mm-hmm.
We'll send them. We can send them to the fictional staff here. There we go. All right. Thank you, Mike. Good thing you're on. Okay, so learn what lesson to the wise. We will do it again if you missed it the first time. And Michael Link will look good on the recording. So, okay. So we're going to do content embed again. Edit content. If you missed it. Okay, save. All right. Now we get to getting to know you. At least I didn't do that.
Just something to say here that is more generic. You can keep going. That in various places throughout the platform, including this one, which we just found, when we build something that is adaptable for both CRM targets and staff targets, we have that selector at the top, and that will filter out the automations, for example, that can only be used with CRM targets and automations that can only be used with staff. And there's other elements that may or may not be appropriate for one or the other. So that's why you have that selector at the top. And then that's why this flow had to be reset, because the elements that were used in it may or may not have been appropriate to just leave there for staff. So resetting is really the only way to make sure that we can save you from mistakes. Okay, that's all.
Okay. All right, so that's the step 2. That's our collecting our information. So now we're going to go to the file upload because we want to have them upload their certifications. If you are not using the default, so the default is under files, staff files, the name of the staff, submitted by staff, flows, flow name. And that's going to automatically sort the uploads to the person who's uploading. If you're not doing that, you need to create the upload folder beforehand that they will put this stuff into. That's what I noticed. And so now we're going to get the works certification records. So here you're going to do, this is pretty easy as far as getting there. So we're going to upload a file there, and then you're going to choose your folder if you want a different folder. If you don't, you just kind of leave it. Right, Dave? Right, Mike? Pretty sure.
That's correct, yes.
That is correct. Now you can edit content that goes above the file, so you can give them a little instructions. So same here, I did a little blurb saying this is why we're doing this. So you can put that there. So that would go above the upload block, a little bit of text there. And I'm going to save lots. Okay, so that's the certification records. And next step would be to get their tech stuff set up. So a new client or a new staff in this case, you need to decide the steps that are necessary to set them up for their workstation. Write content for each step here. Oh, this is the checklist, that's why. So we're creating a checklist, which I've already built. And when you do that, you have to decide your steps, write the content and all that inside the checklist, which we can probably cover another time. But for now, we're going to just set it into our flow. So I'm going to add a checklist. workstation setup. And now we're going to choose the workstation setup checklist that I had built earlier. Okay. And is there anything else on that? No, I think that's it on that step. Then we're going to go to step number 5. Now we're going to introduce key staff so that we want to have our new staff know some faces, know the right people to go to. We can write out a nice message, find some pictures, resize them, make sure they're good size. So we're going to do that using a content embed block. So this is our key people block. So we're going to add another step here. That's content embed. Just close that up. And we're going to edit or get our thing written up again. Okay, so there's our key people. Yes, this is all fictional, just so you know. Okay.
That's a nice layout, though. That would go.
We're good. Yeah, that's just using tables. So you just insert a table and pop it in there. So that works. Okay, next step. We want them to, we did that one. We're going to do our company mission and values because it's good for them to know what you're all about. Hopefully they already know, but mission and values. And I'm totally making this workflow up. So think about how you could use each block for your situation. Sorry, what was I doing? Upload, no download. Okay, so there's a file download here. And you're going to choose your files or folders. So in this case, I've got, where the heck did I put it? Hold on a second.
Something to say here, just to be clear,
I gotta remember where I put
in the file upload download blocks. When you say, for example, create a file upload block that's, you want them to upload their driver's license, let's just say. Please understand, we have no way of understanding if they're actually uploading a picture of their driver's license. We've had that in support and people asking, we don't know what they're uploading. We have no idea which file they're uploading. If it's the correct file, we can't validate that. They're going to upload the files and, you know, be on your side to validate if that's fits your parameters. Of course, downloading is really the same. We can know if they downloaded the files. I'm sorry. But we don't hold the flow step. We don't lock the flow step if they haven't clicked download, for example. They're made available for them, then they can download them and move on. Okay. I think that's it.
That's good. So I've got the file attached now. Now that I remember where I put it. Great. All right. And sometimes on my portals, I actually have a folder for stuff. Like if it's common resources, you may want to have a folder that says, okay, here's all our branding stuff, or here's all our new staff stuff. So it's all in one folder. It's easy to find. Okay. So that was the missions and values. And I think actually there's a spot in here as well. You can make the text available. So there's something that goes above your download. So if we go back in here, we can do edit content and save it again. So that's going to give us a little bit of blurb that they can read. Save. Great. And then we're going to go to the non-disclosure. So this is where they're going to sign a legal document. So we're going to do that. This is the read and e-sign. And I'm going to title it. And here you're going to edit this. This is where all the stuff that they're actually agreeing to is here. You can you use placeholders? Can't remember. Yeah, oh yeah, you can. You can totally you could put I so-and-so and use the placeholders if you want into here so that it's more personalized. I don't have it on this example. There we go, and save. That's the non-disclosure. That's the end. We've now built. We got it all. Read and e-sign. So that is it Yeah, and the legal stuff, just I'll make it really clear. To make it legal, the signature is legal, but what you put above it is up to you to make sure it's legal as far as the text goes. But that e-signature is recognized. So that is the workflow for getting a staff going and into your portal. What questions do you have so far before we kind of go into how to use this thing?
Okay, so Kat asked, why would you not use the default folder for files? And Kat, I think in most cases in this application, you would. It really just depends on your systems, your processes, and how you want to train your staff, for example. So typically, as we say, we're trying to help you build. Everything we do is trying to give you a way to easily train someone and say, okay, we go to this folder and then it will be available there. So if it's a folder that is more appropriate for that process in your company, then you can divert and use a different folder than the default. You have the option, but as Kathy said, if you don't choose anything different, it will be that default. And here's another question. I'll just read them. I'm sorry that you don't have these, Kathy, but it would be great if we could use kickoff forms to automate the onboarding of staff members, as opposed to having to use the LMS for that purpose. Any plans for this? Kickoff forms to automate so Mitchell, you can make an onboarding flow for a staff member, and you can assign it not in kickoff forms. They can't be used by staff. So in my experience, I don't know many companies who allow people to sign up as a staff member using a form. So I get what you're saying, but it's just not a traditional use case. It's a small use case, and therefore that's why we're not really building around that. But when you create a staff member using the internal form, you can assign a flow. I'm 99% sure, and if not, it should be that way. It will be that way. Ken has a question for NDA. Can you save the signed doc so it's viewable by staff? Or if it was client? Yes, yes, Ken. All the legal all this read and e-sign steps are saved, and there's an audit trail. So it's treated much like a document generator creating a document, but it doesn't have that complexity. It's simplified in the case of a flow. It's meant to be that way. Okay, I think that's all the questions, Kathy.
Okay, so we've saved our flows. We now have an onboarding flow and an on-demand flow. So I'm going to just show you kind of the differences between the two. So if we go over to our staff, because this is a staff one, we're going to go over here. I've made one staff person. So when I go so someone who's already in the system, you can assign an on-demand flow. And you just do it like this. Go here and you find it, and you can assign the on-demand flow. And that will get them going to be able to see. Now, what they see on this end, like this is that person logged in on a different browser here. So this is that attention needs attention. So this is what's going to be there. And a flow's been assigned to you, and they're going to work their way through the flow. And welcome to our team. They're going to continue getting to know you. They can fill in all these forms. I didn't make anything required, so I'm just going to run through this really quickly. These are their records. They can select a file, grab it, stick it in. I guess I have to pull something up here. Sorry, let me find something quick. So we're stuck until I
We
do.
can't verify it's a driver's license, but we do make you upload a file. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to upload a avatar picture. Okay. So we're going to upload a file. So there's a file there. This is the workstation setup. Oh, it says it's completed because I ran the test through it already. We'll check that, but that's basically that's the information that the checklist has. These are all the things we set up. Once that's all completed, so normally we can take a look when we do the on-demand form. You'll see what that looks like and continue through. These are the key people here. continue through. Their mission and values, that's the text. This is the download the file. They can download it here. Oh, you make them. They have to download the file.
Yes, ma'am.
They do. Okay, let me get that here. Continue. And then this is the confidentiality agreement, and they can sign. Okay, sign, confirm signature. Then their flow is done. The needs attention disappears. They can go back to whatever they were working on before. So that is that person, the existing staff already.
Yeah, that looks great. So
Okay.
I think we've all had experiences where we maybe are applying for a loan for a house at a bank or something like that. But there are a lot of applications where you go through these types of flows, and the idea of flow is to make that exact functionality available to you, white labeled, completely adaptable to your processes. Kathy didn't show up, but she easily can show how you can reorder them. You can attach automations to them, et cetera, et cetera. So it's super powerful in a way that you can adapt to your business. Peter has a question about, can you reset the steps of a checklist? And Peter, yes, you can go into a specific checklist, and we don't need to show this or demonstrate it, but you just look in the documentation, Peter. I think it's displayed there how it works. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now to do that on-demand form, if someone wanted to kind of ignore it and go do something else in your portal, they could go, leave that, go over, do something else and come back to it. So there's a bit of freedom in that one. When you add a new staff member, the only way you can have the onboarding flow is to have a new staff member. So we'll give it to a freelancer. They do need an email. Sorry, this is going to take me a second. Or I don't have any fake ones from you. Oops, never mind. Second name. Okay. So when you're setting this person up, you're going to grab the onboarding flow right here. And that will, as soon as they get their thing, so let's say they get their access immediately, or not, it depends how built out your portal is, but they send it. When they log in, the first thing they're going to see is that flow. So Mike, you get to talk for a minute and answer questions while I
All right, sure.
log out here and log in
Yeah.
elsewhere.
Okay, Mitchell, I get what you're saying, and the only variance with what you're saying and what I'm saying is the kickoff form meaning in the sense of a staff member creation. Okay, so you can use an update form with staff and update their data in that way. But as far as getting a staff member technically added and creating their profile for the first time, that happens from the admin side only currently. And of course, I'm 100% open-minded to if I'm not quite getting it, which is certainly possible, willing to figure that one out and see if we can make it happen. But again, we have to weigh it against the number of customers it would make versus how much it costs to build it, to be quite honest. Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks for that context. Peter says, can you reset a step of a flow? They can go back and complete a step if they skip it, Peter. Resetting it, I do not believe we have that capability at the moment. No, if they've completed it and marked it complete, then I can't say 100%. I don't remember that being in flows. It definitely is in checklist. That was one of the requirements when we designed and built that.
You might be able to take them out, like unassign the flow and then put them back in, and it might set it again.
That would be an approach. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For as often as you might have to do it, I think it's really probably sufficient. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I've gone to my email. I've copied the link that gets them to set their password. So this is your brand new staff. coming in. And we're going to do the password.
Yeah, and Don has a good idea as well. I think that's a good idea, Don, to create a circle that you strip everything out, all the menus, all the everything, and only have the on-demand flow.
Mhm.
And then when the flow is completed, there's automation for that. There's an automation opportunity for that, and you could switch their circle back and put them back on the path. So that'd be one way to do it as well, Mitchell,
Right.
if you were trying to lock them into something.
Okay, so we're looking at the brand new staff that we put the onboarding flow onto. So they just logged in and this is what they see. They don't see anywhere else. They cannot get into your portal. They have to do these steps before they can go anywhere else. Now this is going to be the same for any kind of contact that you assign an onboarding flow to. So it kind of locks everything down. And you're basically they're gonna go through the exact same thing because I built the exact same thing in this case. So they're going there. There's the records. Oh, I gotta upload again. Go here. I'm just keep going because that checklist wasn't finished here. Oh, it is finished here.
No, you have to click
Oh, there you
done.
are. I'm
Yeah,
right.
this
Okay,
checklist
yeah.
is
So
a self-assessed, what we call a self-assessed completion list.
right. So as we go into automations, there's all kinds of things you can do, which I'm not doing today, but as things are done, yes, I've completed this task. Move up, move on. I'm done. Yes, I've completed this task. And there's see more is here's some extra information, all that kind of stuff. If you've provided that information. So this is a checklist embedded inside your
We've seen people embed videos and do all sorts of really interesting things with checklists. Checklists are very cool. Yeah.
yeah, they are they're very cool. The flow is stuck until they're finished the tasks. So they are stuck on this step. You can set it so that you can skip certain things. I haven't set mine to do that. So there's your people. You can continue. There's your download your file. Download it again. Yep. Going there and then they're going to sign. So this is, it's nice if like in a case of they need an NDA before they can go see your proprietary content. Good thing to do.
A quick question from Wally.
Mhm.
Wally says apologies if this was addressed, but what happens if they stop mid-flow if they close the window and log back in? In this case, for an onboarding flow, Wally, they'll be locked right. They'll be redirected right back here in wherever they left off. There's no passing this until it's done. In the case of an on-demand flow, the urgent notification bar will still show. The link will still be active that they received in their email, and they can pick it back up where they left off. Yes.
Okay. Do you need me to demo that or we're good?
No, everything's great.
Okay. So we're confirming it. And then as soon as they've done all those wonderful steps to get hired, they get access to your portal. So that was the onboarding flow. Okay. I think that's all I've got that's the activating new staff. Just checking that I got all my notes done. Reviewing it, we did that. Yeah, you can review it using a different browser, which is what I showed. You can use incognito in the same browser, or you can impersonate using your dashboard, which I actually can show you that. Let me just
Or there's a preview functionality in flows, and it will show you the flow. Of course, it's very tempting when you see it. It looks really real, and you want to start clicking on it. Remember that you can't click on it and use it as a flow, as a live flow, for example. But it will give you an idea of how it's looking, how it's presented. Yes.
Yeah. So that's your preview.
And
You can also. Oh, go ahead.
sorry. While we're here, I just want to say that we have planned already a sort of a UI overhaul, not overhaul, but in another iteration in the UI for flows. So what you see, it looks, I would give it, say, maybe like an 80%, but we're going to take it up to 95, 90, 99%. It really, really slick looking. So that's on the way in the next, say, 6 to 8 weeks.
There are some settings on the side here. So if you like, if you want a different background color, You can save
Right.
that.
Yep. So there's some simple things. We'll provide all a whole host of other color options so you can really customize,
So
as
these
well
are,
as the buttons that take you from left to right and complete steps. They'll be much nicer.
so there's those are the couple options right now. It will get more. These are going to be this is where you're going to find things that have been submitted. So the status submission, particularly those that are signing an e-signature, you're going to see what you can see their progress here. But you can also go see that document. You can download that document that they signed. So if you did want to store it elsewhere, you can download it from here. Okay, what else do I have to show you?
That's great. They're showing the submissions. And
Mhm.
yes, any data that was entered or displayed, I'm sorry, submitted in the flow is there. And also you can go now, I think to files, to the files toolkit,
Yeah,
and navigate to that staff member.
yeah. So we'll go to there. Yeah, because we use the default. So it's going to be under staff files.
Yes.
Um, we'll go
Right.
back.
And then
Sorry. Uh, nope. Fictional staff did it.
submitted
Submitted.
by staff. Yes.
Yeah,
In
good job.
flows. Yes. And so this structure, this pathway is intended to be something that you could easily train someone and say, okay, when it's time for you to process this person, you'll go to their folder, submitted by staff, and you'll find the document there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can handle some
More questions?
questions.
Yeah.
In the
If you
onboarding flow, they'll have to restart. I don't think so, Wally. They go back to where they are. Yes, Don is correct. I believe they'll. We definitely know which steps they've completed and which steps they need to still complete.
Mhm.
And then Peter says, can you create a dynamic flow? Example flow steps are displayed based on the selected items on a custom list. That's interesting, Peter. I read that and thought that's definitely interesting. I think more so what you mean is like maybe they're submitting a form, and then based on some selections they make there, that we could adapt a flow and only show them the steps that are appropriate for their situation. I think that's right. Yes. Lisa, I'm going to come back to it. Yes. I'm trying to get back to that one. Kathy, anything else that you need to
no,
wanted to
that's
show?
kind of what I've put together for today.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
let's get people to actually just ask all your questions while we're sitting on this part. We'll do automations another day, but let's get all
Well,
your questions so you understand
definitely
this.
want to answer all the questions. First, I want to say that was a really succinct and direct and just perfectly appropriate tutorial flows. I think. I mean, we didn't go too far into the weeds and just enough to really get the point across. But let's handle the question. Miss Lisa says, for the checklist of signatures required by the organization, okay, how can the staff see the remaining documents needed to sign to continue the flow? I'm running into an issue where they're unable to see all the documents until the organization signs. Okay, so the organization is your company, Lisa. I think you're probably building this for someone else, just from the context of your question. And they're needing staff to sign, Lisa. We're gonna need a few back and forths here. Okay, so you're building this for you, and you're getting staff and organization to sign, meaning you and the staff that you're onboarding. Yes. Okay, great. And you're having trouble. They're not seeing all the documents that they need to sign, or please clarify a little bit more. Mitchell says this has been a super cool tutorial, Kathy. See? Coach Kathy. She's a hit. And Coach Kathy's available. She's in live support sessions. She is doing a great job with guiding people. And if you get in there, the best thing is she will make sure You should be prepared. No, she'll ask all the right questions that get you on the way to progress. That's right. I mean, Kathy, you find that that's just the best way to really get going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
getting
that's awesome.
clarity.
Exactly. But you have a gift for doing that, for just kind of distilling down to, okay, this one question will break us open here. Okay, so I'm gonna find another question or two. So I'm right here. If answer to question 3 is yes. Okay, right. Yeah, I like that idea, Peter, for dynamic flows. I really do like it. It's the challenge we'll have is uh, understanding how to get a flow to qualify as complete, because then in this scenario we'll have 20 steps, and someone that accesses it will only have access to 7, so it shouldn't be so, I'm just thinking on the fly here, but it shouldn't be too difficult. I think that's something that's really doable. Yeah, I like that. And Long Cut says, I would love that too for salesmen and clients when multiple documents are needed to see what has been signed and what still needs to be. I have a few docs in the checklist, but only shows one document at a time. So you're using checklists, Lisa?
That's over here.
On occasion, there's multiple on-demand flows set up on a page, like a checkout to buy packages. The user has to select the flow, but sometimes they change their mind and have to reset their flow. It'd be nice if the user could reset on their end. Because they can only have one flow at a time, Tim. That's why. That's why it's difficult, right? I understand that. Okay. And so what happens, meaning when they change their mind, so they choose the wrong flow, and now they don't need to fill that flow out, so they're looking at the wrong flow and they need to look at the right flow. You have to unassign them from that flow and let them choose the other one. Am I getting that right? Okay, good. Yep, I get that. This idea of being only a bit of only being able to be assigned to one flow is actually kind of an archaic concept now, based on how we move forward with the urgent notification bar. So I believe, and give me just a second to make some notes, because I believe we can bypass that one. Yes. Okay. And then let me try to follow up with Lisa. I have a few docs, but in the checklist, it only shows one document at a time. Okay. Great. Lisa, it will not go to the next document on the checklist until the organization signs.
Just in case people haven't found it, if someone is in a flow that they want to get out of, they're stuck in, or they need to redo, you just go to the 3 dots either here or in the CRM, and you just cancel the assigned flow. It's pretty simple to do.
That's right. Whoops. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, my screens are not set up for this note taking, and I'm having to make some adjustments, but great. And then we'll hit. I get you. So here's what can solve, Lisa. We're planning as fast as we can get to it, giving you the ability to sign on behalf of the organization sort of automatically in the front, right? Because in your case, you would just want to say, look, I'm going to sign it. I know I'm going to sign it. Let me do it now. Let me do it immediately. And then this will solve your issue, if I understand it correctly, so that when they sign a document, you've already signed it. And then they go to the next one. Then they sign a document, right? Okay, good. So I'm going to approach it from that angle, because that kills 2 birds with 1 stone, and try to get you streamlined in that way. So we're going to say organization self-sign on creation, essentially. Okay, thanks for validating that. Yes. Okay. When will the recording be available? I think we usually try to say 24 hours, David. I think that should be no different here. And Wally says, in this example, the NDA has a signature line. Advantage, disadvantage of using flow step for contract as well, instead of generating documents. So maybe I'm behind the game. Wally, I think it's a simplicity thing. So it kind of depends on your needs and your assessment of your legal requirements. So I would say in the read and e-sign step of flows, it's a really lightweight way of putting some legal language. It could be disclaimer. It could be as simple as I acknowledge that, I was told about this and I'm completing this flow and I've seen this information. So it could be some really lightweight 1 or 2 paragraph kind of thing. Just making sure that you have that accountability. And then document generators are set up more so that you could really lay into a big heavy document, a legal document with data replacements and all the things that are available there. They both have audit trails, which means when they are signed, we stamp with a timestamp and an IP address and all the things that are needed to help you in case it really needs to be proven. But that's the best answer I can give. And I believe, sorry, forgive me. I sometimes I don't know whether we've talked about it, planned it, and talked about it so much that it's actually that it is or not on production. So I mean, sometimes in that case, and that's the case here. I think that when you read an e-sign in a flow, it does show up in the documents list in the same way that a document generator will create a document in the documents list. So I think we actually create a document and it's something that you can retrieve from the documents list. If not, it's a task that's on the way to that. So sometimes I'm not. We move so fast; it's hard to tell, like if it's something I remember talking about or it actually got there.
Yeah,
So it
there's
looks
none
like,
here. Yeah, there's none here, but it's
yeah,
might be because it was staff we were working with and not contacts.
could be. I'll check on that. I'm making a note right now. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so does that help you, Wally? Is that sort of make it a little more clear? And there's some conversation about thank you, Ken. Ken says no, it doesn't show if for staff or CRM targets, Ken. Gotcha. Mhm. Well, as I said, the reason I'm thinking that is because it's a task that's been formed and is on its way in the pipeline somewhere in our pipeline. Uh, there's not really a challenge there. It's more about just turning attention to it and getting a priority. Okay. Yes, Ken. Hmm. And what I was going to say right before we said that is there's conversation about trying to have a an additional step here that is in addition to read and e-sign, because we want to keep read and e-sign to give people this lightweight version that they don't have to create a document generator and prepare in that side. They can just type it out and say, I confirm that this or that. But another step that is a document generator step that pulls from a document generator that gives them the document in that flow step and reacts in every way like a document generator in a document. So that would also be a solution here. But we're angling towards your need, which is exactly you just verified, which is awesome. Good. Okay. Uh, and you asked exactly the question here above. So perfect. We are moving in the right direction here. Okay. When we're recording, yes, see that. Good. Sorry for I'm just scanning questions here.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have suggested, like, what do you need flows to do, or what do you think flows could help you with? If you want to, even put those out, we've got 15 minutes here to kind of talk through those.
Exactly. Any feedback about flows? One additional piece about flows is we are planning for flow cannons, which is essentially the same functionality as form cannons, and it will add flows to the list of items that can be accomplished without actually bringing people into your portal. So if you shoot a flow cannon to a target, um, it will send them an email. It will have a link, and that link will be hashed and coded properly so we know who it is, which flow it is. And when they click the link, the flow will open in a non-logged view. So they don't have to log in. They don't have to pass that gate. They don't ever have to really enter your portal. They can just complete that information right there outside in a way that's very easy to access, and also doesn't give you the responsibility of preparing an entire presentation inside. You can get that data. So that's something that is being planned, and I think will be really helpful.
One of the benefits of flows, if you're new to SuiteDash and you're really not, there's lots, you can do lots, and I love lots. But if you're kind of like just new and you just need to get some stuff done, flows, you don't have to design a page. You don't have to know like how to arrange things. You just stick the stuff in, and it looks professional without any kind of design skills behind it. So you can get your workflow up and running really quickly and then use it. And then later on, when you do have some more bandwidth or you do have some more knowledge, you can convert them over to something else, because you just copy and paste like you saw me do into a different location if you even need to. You may never need to.
Exactly. Lisa is saying that, Lisa, let me clarify. That is something that we are planning, and that will solve your problem. It's not something that exists now. The ability for you to pre-sign documents as an organization. But that's exactly, yeah. So what I was saying was, instead of thinking about your problem from the standpoint of trying to solve it in some other way, then we'll just concentrate our efforts on this organization pre-sign, and that will solve your problem, I think, from a better way, because it'll also the feature will be there for others to use as well. Okay, everyone. I think everyone here a lot of people are using flows. How many of you guys are using flows that are here? Just put a 1 in the chat. I think a lot of people are using flows. Peter's not using them yet. He's thinking about it. Look at it. Cat's not using it yet, I'll say. Lisa says she will now. That's great. Yeah, see? Yeah, exactly. Flows, exactly as Kathy described, are designed to help you create a really easy, structured, sequenced onboarding. The automations that we'll get to in a later session unlock some incredible opportunities for all kinds of things. So you can extend from one flow that just does some simple things to really controlling an entire onboarding sequence and onboarding workflow that keeps you informed, that keeps every part of your staff moving, generates projects, all those things. So it's really, really interesting and powerful. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks again, Coach Kathy. I really appreciate it. Well done, as always. And we will go ahead and close this session. Thank you, VIPs. Thank you for being here. Good to see you, Isaac. Hi, Kat. Kanika, nice to see you. Kanika, sorry. And David, great. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening. We will see you guys in the next one. Thanks again. Bye.